organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, Paul Ryan had bold words for voters in Cedar Rapids on his second trip to Iowa.
And another tropical storm has developed into a hurricane. See the details about where the storm is headed.
And in sports, hear what Ferentz has to say about this weekend's matchup.
That's all coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning into your Wednesday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Ian Martin.
And I'm Tasha Woods. Paul Ryan leads a speech in Cedar Rapids with the words, "Are you better off?" asking Iowans if they're satisfied with the way President Obama has handled the past 4 years. For Republican voters who attended the rally, the answer was no. I was at the event yesterday to take a look.
President Obama can say a lot of things, and he's very good at that, and he'll do that in Charlotte. But one thing he cannot tell you, you're better off. After getting a runaround for 4 years, it is time for a turnaround. And the man for that turnaround will be our next president of the United States, and his name is Mitt Romney.
Yesterday, hundreds of people crowded into this room to hear Congressman Paul Ryan speak about 5 key issues that he hopes to outline in his election. One of those issues being job creation by being fiscally responsible and not spending money that we don't have. He says the significant national debt, which just hit $16 trillion, is a serious threat to the economy.
Of all the broken promises from President Obama, this is probably the worst one. Because this debt is threatening jobs today, it's threatening prosperity today, and it is guaranteeing that our children and grandchildren get a diminished future.
He had a lot to say about how President Obama just hasn't lived up to his expectations. And the crowd was, in a word, enthusiastic at what he had to say. Take a look at some highlights from the speech.
We like to cling to our guns and our religion. All I have to say in response to that is this Catholic deer hunter is guilty and charged. The Canadians should drop their tax rate to 15% on all of their businesses, and President Obama is saying the top tax rate on successful small businesses should go to above 40%. You're not going to create jobs when we do that. We need to have tax reform to get rid of loopholes and lower tax rates for everybody.
And Ryan's opposition, President Obama, will be visiting the University of Iowa on Friday afternoon at the Old Capitol, along with the president, his wife Michelle, and Vice President Joe Biden and his wife Jill will attend. This event is expected to affect a lot of the University of Iowa facilities, even starting tomorrow. The lawn between Jessup and McBride will be closed, along with a few of the McBride classrooms, and the buildings will be closed until after the president's speech from 10 p.m. on. Friday, the Old Capitol and most of the T. Ann Cleary walkway will be closed, so you may need to find an alternate route to class. Don't forget that Clinton Street and Iowa Avenue will also be closed near the Pentecrest. If you have a ticket to the event, holders will begin to sit around 1 p.m.
And Mother Nature takes no breaks. A tropical storm developed into a hurricane today. Hurricane Leslie may grow into a Category 2 storm with winds at 110 miles per hour. The hurricane will be approaching Bermuda over the weekend.
Still to come on Daily Iowan TV.
I'll take a behind-the-scenes look at Hawkeye and what it takes to bring this event to the University of Iowa.
And in sports, Iowa's place kicker Mike Meyer was named Big Ten's Co-Special Teams Player of the Week. We'll tell you why coming up.
But first, let's check in with Stefan Giron for a look at the local weather. Stefan, we had quite a storm here in Iowa City last night. Are there more storms coming our way?
Thanks, guys. Well, there are no storms for tomorrow, but Friday there's a pretty good chance. Tomorrow morning we will start out with a cool 70 degrees with clear and sunny skies. Then in the afternoon it heats up to 81 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Then in the evening it will cool down to 64 degrees without a cloud in the sky. Looking into the next few days, on Friday is where we will most likely have the storms with a 50% chance of rain and a high of 73. For the weekend, we should see clear skies with a high of 70 degrees for both days. It should be perfect weather for the first home football game. Then the start of the next week is clear with a high of 73 degrees. It should be some pretty nice weather despite a chance of storms. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Stefan. As you mentioned, those hot summer temperatures are once again in full force around the Midwest, but one UI organization isn't letting the heat slow them down. Daily Iowan TV's Brad Maxwell takes a look at Scope Productions as they set up the process for Hawkapalooza 2012.
The afternoon sun beats down on the stage as it slowly rises to life. Speakers are assembled, and Hubbard Park begins to take shape for Hawkapalooza 2012. But for members of Scope Productions, the setup has been far from a cool breeze.
Oh, it's hot. It's really hot, but we're out here just working really hard.
Over 45 members from Scope Productions have been working long hours setting up for this year's concert featuring hip-hop artist T-Pain. But because Hawkapalooza is outdoors, preparing for the event takes time.
Well, we were out here yesterday for about 7 hours. Today we'll be here for about the same. Tomorrow we'll be here all day.
Although the setup for the event can be extensive, it's only a small part of what actually goes on to bring Hawkapalooza to the University of Iowa. Setup actually begins in April and continues all the way through the summer. Immediately after the Scope Exec Board turns over in the spring, the committee begins preparing for the next year's events, reserving locations, fundraising, and most importantly, scouting for popular artists.
We all just get together and we just kind of start spitballing and say, who do we want to bring? Who can we get within this budget? What genre do we want to focus on this year?
Although Monfils couldn't provide any specifics on the Hawkapalooza budget, he suggests the majority of the funds come from the mandatory student activity fees as well as many local organizations.
Approach a lot of local businesses as well as, corporate sponsors like Coca-Cola and, Come and Go and things like that so they can get that exposure and we can put on a great show.
So whether you're an avid T-Pain fan or just looking for a fun atmosphere, Scope members are confident Hawkapalooza will be the place to be on Thursday night.
Just when the artist first comes on stage, it's always really cool how excited everybody gets. It should just be a great show.
And I think it's going to go great. I expect this place to be absolutely packed. We had about 8,000 people here for Mike Posner last year, and I hope to at least meet that, if not exceed it.
Brad Maxwell, Daily Iowan TV.
Gates open for the Hawkapalooza concert at 6 p.m. with T-Pain taking the stage at 8:30. Iowa enrollment takes a record high this year with just under 31,500 students. School officials also say that this year's incoming freshman class is also the most diverse ever. Minorities represent 16% of incoming students. Iowa residents make up just over 47% of this year's incoming freshman class. Executive Director of Admissions says they have worked very hard for this kind of diversity they are seeing this year.
Most teenagers around the country can start driving at the age of 16, but should the same age limit be applied to tractors? Well, a group of scientists from the University of Iowa, along with the Marshfield Clinic in Wisconsin, think so. Teens are 4 times more likely to die on a farm from tractor-related accidents than any other workplace. And the group of researchers hope to prevent children from dying with their state-of-the-art driving simulator to help determine the proper age for kids to operate farm equipment. The study will seek to identify small differences between the performance of children and adults. If successful, it could lead to a longer and larger study. This study will begin within the next month.
And now for your Hawkeye sports update, let's go to Kate Constable.
What's up, and welcome back to Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. Let's get things started today by talking a little football. This weekend, the Hawkeyes will clash with in-state rivals Iowa State in a matchup that will determine who's king of the state for another year. And while the rivalry is obviously felt among all Hawkeye players, some are definitely feeling the pressure more than others. I caught up with Iowa natives James Ferentz and James Vanderberg to get their view on the fierce in-state rivalry.
As you grow up around the state, you understand how important this game is. It's bragging rights for an entire season, and it's one of those things where you definitely don't want to be on the losing end.
Something I think the fans really look forward to going into their stadium. Last year, obviously, it's a hostile environment, and we know Kinnick's a great advantage for us, so they have to come here this year, and there's a lot of excitement around campus and our team in general.
And here, take a look at head coach Kirk Ferentz's view on this weekend's matchup.
It's obviously a big game for our football team, and I think a big game for everybody involved in the state, which is an outstanding thing for everybody. They've got an excellent football team. Had a very impressive win Saturday against a good Tulsa football team, and they've just done a nice job year in and year out with what they're doing over there. So, we've got a big challenge on our hands and certainly a lot of work to do this week.
The Hawkeyes will have a different look come Saturday, though. They'll be sporting throwback uniforms intended to celebrate Iowa's 1921 and 1922 Big Ten Conference Championship teams, a feat that the 2012 Hawkeyes would love to replicate. And in other football news, Iowa's place kicker junior Mike Meyer was named the Big Ten's Co-Special Teams Player of the Week for his performance against Northern Illinois on Saturday. Meyer was responsible for 12 of the Hawkeyes' 18 points, making 4 out of 5 field goals, and even hitting a 50-yarder that proved to be very important in the Hawkeyes' win. Congratulations, Mike. But Meyer isn't the only Hawkeye athlete receiving recognition for his excellent performance, as 6 Iowa golfers have been named to the Big Ten's Players to Watch list for the 2012-2013 season. Christy Cardwell, Laura English, and Shelby Phillips received honors for the women's team, while Stephen Ime, Ian Vandersea, and Joseph Winslow were chosen from the men's squad. The men's team will play open play this weekend at the annual Golden Gopher Invitational in Minnesota, and the women will begin play in Lincoln, Nebraska on Monday. Well, it appears the University of Iowa field hockey team has stepped up their game. According to the Penn Monto National Field Hockey Coaches Poll, the Hawkeyes have moved from 12th to 10th in national rankings and are one of only 2 Big Ten schools placed in the top 10. Penn State holds the other spot, sitting at number 8, and Iowa has only lost 1 game this season so far, falling to North Carolina in late August. Well, that's your Hawkeye sports for the day. Back to you guys at the desk.
And now let's take a look at what's going on outside of Iowa. Bill Clinton will be speaking at the Democratic National Convention tonight, but where in the world is Hillary Clinton? Hillary is in China. She received a hostile welcome from the Chinese media, though. Clinton also had a scheduled meeting with Vice President Xi Jinping, who was expected to become the next president. But upon arrival, the meeting was unexpectedly canceled. And actually, Ian, Hillary is actually in China to settle some land disputes.
Yeah, that's right, Tasha. Small uninhabited islands in the East China Sea have been a cause for dispute between Japan and China. These islands are owned by a private owner, but Japan has agreed to buy them for $26.2 million. Japan is working to keep relations with China neutral. However, this new purchase could dish out more tension between the two.
And CNN reported the first vegetarian McDonald's to open at 2 Indian holy sites. Both are pilgrimage districts that are entirely vegetarian. McDonald's hasn't had the easiest time advertising their leading product, the hamburger, in a country that considers cows a holy animal. There are only 271 McDonald's outlets in India compared to China with 1,400. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Thursday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about Herman Cain's visit to the U of I's business school this evening to connect with business students about economics.
Plus, due to a rising trend in sexual assaults on campus, the UI is working to increase awareness and inform students about what they need to do to be safe. And that's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.